us and everybody's lives easier. So for example, when you call, I want to do this test analysis, we have to build internal tools, we have to use Django, C#, we have to use Python and other technologies to make all the process easier. So today I'll be talking about how we can use Django to build a laboratory information management system. So let me start by sharing some of the challenges that prompt us to build a LIMS. So first thing, my labs, we serve like 11 million people, and we receive samples from a lot of genomic laboratory labs that we refer to as GLH. In a month, we could receive thousands of samples, so we need to find a way to merge all these samples together into a single holding rack, where before sending it to the another lab for analysis. So basically, lab A can send 2 samples, lab B can send 3 samples, another lab can send 10 samples. So we have to find a way to manage all these samples and organize them into a single holding rack of 96 samples that before going for analysis. The other challenge we face is how do we audit each sample? So we should be able to know, okay, this particular sample is in this particular holding rack and is in this particular well. Maybe the well is labeled, the holding rack is labeled A to H and A to 12. So we need to know, okay, this particular sample is in well B2, C4, E12, so we need to find a way to audit our sample to know their location and their rack and other information about them, whether it's a problem sample, it's not a problem sample. So we need to find, then other thing is automated communication. Because we're receiving sample from other GLH, we need to be able to communicate with GEL and we need to be able to communicate with other lab. So we need to have a way where our data are being sent automatically without having to send emails for every samples or every communication that we need to do. The other challenge we faced was systems. How do we improve the current systems? Because before LIMS, organizations use database systems. Some people use Excel, some people use Access, some people use Virus, some people use paper. So these are some of the challenges these are some of the processes that can be improved with a LIMS. So this process improvement is a general challenge that has been faced by many people and many organizations. So how do we solve all this problem? We can solve all this problem by building a LIMS, that's Laboratory Information Management System. And what is Laboratory Information Management System? Some people will see Laboratory Information Management System in different ways based on what they want to use it for, but I found this very interesting. So Laboratory Information Management System is a software that is designed to streamline and automate lab processes. So basically, you should be able to improve your processes so you'll be able to cut down your time, work faster, and so when you call your GP, they don't tell you, oh, sorry, your results will be ready in 6 months' time, or your results will be ready in 3 weeks' time. How can you build a software that can use to improve your waiting time, that can help you improve your results analysis period? So a LIMS should also be able to store data. Okay, this sample from patient A, he has cancer, he has a rare disease, he has, what was the result analysis? Like in pathology, it's easier for them to tell you, okay, the result is ABC, but for genetics, it's a different ball game. So you should be able to store your results analysis, and you should be able to have the sample metadata. So for each sample, you should be able to know, okay, the quantity, you should be able to know the sample type, maybe it's blood, maybe it's tumor, maybe saliva, whichever sample type. So those information should be stored in a LIMS for your sample. So let's look at the implementation. How are we able to solve these challenges? So the first thing we did for each sample we receive, each comes in a tube and they have a barcode that contains, so you need to scan it. So once you scan it, while doing so many work in Django, we have to check the quantity, we have to check the sample type, we have to check the GLH, okay, which laboratory sent this data. So then we have to verify that we have the correct information. So once we scan the sample, we send a post request to the server that stores all this information for you. And we also create a CSV file. Let me just show us a simple code that we use for acknowledging sample. So so using a Django generic view, then in your form valid method, you can override the form. I think I'm having the same issue. The form valid method where you have samples of object.create, then you have the check participant. So this check participant is in between the validation. Is the data like, and let's say for example, we have the large, is it the participant sample, is it like integer? You have to use regular expression. So these are some of the validations that we're able to achieve with Django. I don't know where this is coming from. Another thing that we have to check, okay, what's the group? Because as you're receiving a sample from a patient, you're also receiving the sample from their family members. So we're not just doing testing for some patient A, we're also doing testing for patient for their family member, brother, sisters, mother. Maybe they've had cancer in the past. So you need to check, is the group existing? And when you're sending the data out to the lab, you need to go with the family data. So we have other validations that we'll do in that. Then plating. This is the most interesting part of the whole project. So plating is where we mix all these samples together. So we have a holding rack. So this is an example of a holding rack. We have A to H, then we have 1 to 12. So the green cycle represents a single patient, let's say patient A. Then X, or the X sample, represents other patients B, C, D, E, F. So we have to follow some plating rules and regulation, like we have multiple samples from patients. If you look at patient A1, well A1 and well B4, these are samples from the same patient. So we need to put like 2 rows and 3 columns in between multiple samples from the same patient. So these are some of the things we follow when plating. Then when sending this sample out, we need to plate. We have like a validation where we check if we have samples from other family member of the particular patient also. So this is just like a sample of how a rack looks like at the end of the day. So this is not the exact one, I got this from Unsplash. So you have like all your samples arranged in a holding rack, and we'll send this out maybe back over here. We'll service the sample back here. So the other thing we're able to do is, so sample audit is simply looking for where is your sample stored. So it's like you send the request, okay, I want to query my database and know where this sample is stored. And the easiest way to do that, one of the way this was achieved was using the prefetch audit, prefetch related. So basically, you can, with prefetch related, you can query multiple search fields. You can have participant ID, group ID, rack holding ID. You can have, sorry, I can't remember all of them, but you can have other parameters that you can use to search with. Then the prefetch related allows you to query multiple relationship backwards. So instead of running your lab sample from multiple multiple queries at different times, but with Django prefetch related, you can query your sample ID from all these tables at once. So we have prefetch related, we have select related, but we decided to go with prefetch related because I found this picture online that kind of summarizes what prefetch related is all about. So basically, you're querying multiple database, more like a multiple tables, more like a foreign key relationship, many-to-many, one-to-one, many-to-many relationship that will give you all your results. So this reduces your query time and multiple queries. So let's talk about communication. So communication is more like once we receive a sample from a laboratory, we have to follow some standard protocols. So we call it gel 1004 message. So what's gel 1004 message? It's more like, okay, I have this sample that I want to analyze. I want to check whether this patient has cancer or this patient has a rare disease. So those are the two major things that we do. So what does, so the first message, they send a gel 1004 message. That is, we've sent this sample to you, and that's the sample in a tube, more like in a cooler with storage and everything. So once we confirm that, so what we'll do is, we'll scan the barcode in the lab, we'll store the metadata in a database. This also generates a CSV file that is being stored in a particular folder. So once we confirm all this information, we'll send a gel 1005 message back to them. And this is being achieved using a cron job. So basically, we have a cron job that runs every 15 minutes past the hour. So it checks for any CSV file in a particular folder. Once it discovers that there's a CSV file, it will send it to the labs and other people we need to communicate to. So after it receives a response of like 200, once we get the 200, it moves that particular CSV file into a processed CSV. So every 15 minutes past the hour, it checks for is there any new CSV file that has been stored. So that's how we send our gel 1005 message. So it's been automated that runs every hour. Then we also send the gel 1008 message. Gel 1008 message means that we are done plating all these samples into the holding rack. So basically, we are sending these are the samples that we are sending for analysis to the lab. So the labs will take care of it. So just like, these are the information that we are sending to you. So that is being handled by the cron job also. Yes, so that's how we're able to do our communications with other laboratory. The other aspects of, so why do we need to use a laboratory information management system? The first thing for us is, how do we serve our patients effectively? How do we organize our samples? So by building a laboratory information management system, we merge all the samples together. So samples can come in on Monday, on Tuesday. We have to store them in a store. We have to take them in storage called the awaiting rack. So once we receive them, we pick the scanner. Once you scan, it will tell you this sample, put it in well before. Let me just share the holding rack. So once you scan the sample, it will tell you, put this patient sample in F04. It gives you the location, and it also checks that you are not merging, that the two samples from the same patient are not beside each other. So that's one of the advantages of building laboratory process management system for us. We were able to organize our sample in a stress-free and seamless way. All the technologists in the lab, all they have to do is just, okay, know the location of where they need to add the sample. Then the other advantage for using a laboratory in our lab is to reduce errors. So, like if you discover that this particular sample is faulty, and it has been plated already, you need to change it, move it from this particular rack and to another rack. So we're able to do some data validation that you have the right sample picks. If the system checks that, okay, the sample you want to return is not in this particular holding rack, it's going to give you an error. Sorry, you cannot return this particular sample. And you also have some system where maybe the GLH didn't remember to mark this sample as problem rack. Our system can easily tell you, okay, you need to mark, we have a way for you to mark this problem as a problem rack. Then another error that we're able to reduce is, sorry, I just forgot that. Math is actually beating. So, the other issue where we're able to fix due to human error, maybe your sample this is a repeat sample, and it's in our system because each sample needs to be unique. So we check our system as we're importing the data. We check, we use Django GET request to check if this particular lab sample ID exists in the database already. So that's another way we're able to reduce error to be sure that each sample we are importing into our system is actually a unique sample. The other advantage that we have by using a LIMS is all our communication are automated. So we don't have to worry, oh, I forgot to send this email, or I forgot to send this data to this particular laboratory. So once the sample has been scanned, we create CSV file that has been stored in a particular folder. Then the cron jobs that was built in Python will scan that particular folder every 9:15, 10:15, every 15 minutes past the hour. So that's one of the ways we're able to achieve the automated communications with other laboratories. So yeah, that's the end of my talk. It's a short one. Thank you so much. I'd like to say a big thank you to the DjangoCon community, because without the awesome community of developers, we will not be here, and I'll not be here today. So thank you for the privilege, and to all my team members that works in the laboratory that helped me to prepare this slide. I want to say a big thank you. And yes, so if you can connect with me on Twitter and LinkedIn. I don't know if there's any question from anybody.